What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another fun gear review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the UCO brass candle lantern. Now I just want to say before I jump all into this, I've been using these candle lanterns, God, going all the way back to the late 80s, early 90s. I love them. I've wanted a brass one like this for some time, and I just broke down and got it as kind of a present to myself, because the way things are going in the world, just don't know if I'll be able to afford one later on. So these candle lanterns retail, depending on where you buy them, between $32.99 and $44.99 for this brass one. Okay, let's take a look at the box. The original. And that's actually pretty accurate right there about the how long the candle burns if you use one of their candles. Okay. And the UPC. Alright, let's pop this guy out here. Oh, look, instructions. Not that you really need instructions for this, but, you know, there's going to be some people in the world that that are going to need it. Not pointing fingers, but it's just kind of the world we live in these days. And it is in multiple languages. So I am going to show you the English part. Okay. And at any point you can pause and read any of that. Shows all the components. And if we, here we go, here's the English side for that part. Okay, and the other side, I'm not sure which language that is in, or this. Or that side. I think that could be Spanish. I don't know. I'm not a big languages guy. Alright, let's pop her out here so you can get a look. Alright. We have a little hanging chain, and when you give it a pull, the glass globe deploys and you can see the candle in there. Now what's kind of cool is right here, this shows you how much candle you have left, because there's a spring in here that pushes this candle up as it burns. So very cool little design. Been around since 1971. They've been making them. Now I'll give you some specs. Closed dimensions, which is what it is right now, is 4 1/4 inches high by 2 inches diameter, or 11 centimeters high by 5 centimeters diameter. Open dimensions, which we have right there, are 6 1/2 inches high by 2 inches in diameter, or 17 centimeters by 5 centimeters diameter. A weight with the candle, which is exactly how we pulled it out of the box here, is 6.4 ounces or 181 grams in aluminum. This is the brass version, which is 8.8 ounces or 249 grams, and we will be checking that. But let me show you this. So you just rotate the base here, that comes off, and when you rotate this, here comes, and you got this little plate here. Oops. And that happens almost every time you end up dropping that. Now, one of the things I've done on some of my older ones is I'll put a drop or two of super glue in here on the spring to make sure that that stays together. And you pop it out, and there is the 9-hour candle. And as you see, it's not very big, but it does surprisingly burn for 9 hours. You drop the plate back in there, line up the spring, and then, sorry, trying to do this around camera is always fun. There we go. And it locks back together. Now, when you first get one of these, like this one's brand spanking new, the bottom, made in China now. These used to be made in the US, but I think in the late 80s, they moved everything to China. But anyway, as I was saying, on this part, it feels pretty loose. And what I've done in the past to tighten that up so it doesn't come apart very easy is I'll put a little bit of tape right here, like a little tab of tape on this spot right here on each side, and that'll kind of tighten that up to where when you put that in there and it locks in place, it's not so loose. But that's neither here nor there. Now, what you can do with these is you can grab this glass and you can physically push it down and light your candle that way, and then put the glass back up. The only thing is, if you're going to leave fingerprints on the glass, and that can get a bit annoying, at least to me. So what I tend to do when I want to light one is I rotate the bottom, I pull it all the way out, I light it, then I reinsert it, which is what we're going to do here. Okay. I should have probably trimmed that wick a little bit. We'll let that burn for a second. Yeah, I should have probably trimmed that wick. But you get an idea what it looks like. Now, when this starts burning down on the candle, if you tip this either way, that hot wax is going to end up inside, and it's a mess to clean up every time. It's best just to leave this in a vertical position or hang it up and try not to knock it over. Otherwise, you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning. Alright, I'm going to blow that out. Now, even with that just burning a little bit like that, this top plate here is super hot to the touch. You will burn yourself if you touch that. So, give it time to cool off. But while this is cooling, let's check a weight, shall we? We have our scale set up. And we're set to grams. So with candle, it's reading 248 grams. The list weight is 249, so I'd say that's pretty much right on. 8 3/4 of an ounce, so 8.8 ounces. It's just under the listed weight. So I would say that's pretty perfect. Perfect. Okay. So you might be asking yourself, why in the hell would anybody want one of these things for camping gear in 2023? There's plenty of electric lights that are better, and so forth. There's better technology than a candle lantern. Well, let me explain a few things. Back in '71, when they first started making these, there wasn't much better technology. In fact, a candle was pretty reliable, and a candle that could burn for 9 hours was pretty spectacular. Okay? And because of that, and a lot of people who grew up in the 70s and 80s like I did, we were exposed to this, and in a certain respect, it is nostalgia at this point. Yeah, there's better options out there, but I still use one of these, and I'll tell you why. If you hang one of these up in a tent to burn all night, it'll give you just that very, very, very low light, for one thing. For another thing, it's going to really reduce the condensation you're going to have inside of a tent, okay? Because of that nice little heat. I mean, I can feel heat coming right off the top of this. That's a good deal of heat right there. And if you look at what they have printed here, that's 1,900 BTUs is coming off that. I believe it, okay? So you reduce condensation in a tent or another shelter like that. If you get the citronella candles, which they do make, you can keep bugs away. So that's a big bonus to me. Also, in the wintertime or late fall, this is not a lot of heat that comes off here, but it's enough to bring up the temperature a few degrees. And in the military was to find a stump or a log or something like that to set on and get one of these lit, put a piece of aluminum around this from like a beer can or a soda can so it's blacked out, put on a poncho and put the poncho down all over this with this between your legs, and you've created kind of like a mini tent around your body, and that little bit of heat would make a huge difference, you know, when it was cold out. That was a nice little trick we used to do. A lot of guys would carry just a candle. This was kind of, how should I say, kind of chic, if you will, to have the whole lantern. So another thing to consider is disaster prep. A candle, one of these can sit in a drawer for 30 years. And then you need the light, it comes out, you light it, it works. It's not like a battery where it's going to lose charge over time. Alright? Another thing is they make beeswax candles for these that are rated for 12 hours. And yes, they do burn for 12 hours. Pretty impressive. So for all of those reasons, why not a candle lantern? It's relatively inexpensive, they work, and, you know, granted, these candles that UCO sells are pretty proprietary, and they're not cheap. They're a little bit over $1 each when you buy them. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But if you stick around on my channel, I'm going to be showing you a nice little hack with these, where you can kind of get around that candle thing. Let's take this outside into the dark, and I'll give you a good idea of the kind of illumination you can expect from this. It's just a candle, guys. You're not going to get a lot. So let's go outside and do that. Alright, we're in the backyard. We're at the stump top, and I have the brass UCO lantern lit. As you can see, it doesn't throw a lot of light out here. And if I pan the camera's not picking up much, but to my naked eye, there is light being cast out there, off to the side. But it's very faint. You know, it's a single candle. I'm going to stick my hand down here. You see my hand? So, it's not going to give you a ton of light, but it is visible at distance. Let me walk it out here and set it down. That is the candle at about 10 meters or 30 feet away. I'm sorry it doesn't show up much in the camera, but I can see it quite clearly, and I can see the light it's putting on the ground. Unfortunately, I can't get a better view of it for you, so we're going to head back in the house. Let's say you need to change the glass or clean the globe in this classic style candle lantern. It's real simple. First, just remove the candle assembly, set it aside. Then, if it's broken, wear gloves, shake the broken glass out, and kind of maneuver around and push out and take out any shards. If it's not broken and we're cleaning, then all you do is push down on the glass. You'll see that the glass just went down. Grab it, remove it. I see I got a few little pieces of wax in there. Clean those out. A lot of times I can get away with just doing this if it's little pieces. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a microfiber cloth and we're going to wipe this inside and out to clean it. Turn around, do the other side. Okay, now except for that one spot where I see a little bit of wax, there, I got it. This is pretty clean now. To put it back in, collapse the candle lantern. You'll see there's 3 tabs in there. There's a tab here, here, and here. That's part of the lift assembly. Take the glass, engage 2 of the tabs, just kind of rock that in. There it is, it's going in. And then push it home until the tabs snap around the glass. And that is how you change or clean the glass. You've got to see my brass UCO original candle lantern in action. Doesn't do a whole lot, but I find them useful. So links in the description if you want to pick one up. I'm trying to put links down there for the best price at the time of posting. And that's all I got to say about it. Get it, don't get it, that's up to you. People like them or people hate them. There really isn't a middle ground when it comes to a candle lantern. And I hope you stick around for all the cool modifications that we're going to be doing. Alright, have a good night, and I'll see you all later out in those woods.